Hey Taurus, I need to share something with you today that honestly gave me chills when these cards came through. I just finished this reading, and the energy around divine justice and what's been happening behind the scenes is absolutely real. So grab your coffee or tea, get comfortable, because we need to talk about what the universe has been orchestrating on your behalf while you've been quietly rebuilding your life. You know that feeling when you've been wronged and you just had to walk away with dignity even though every part of you wanted justice? Well, Taurus, the cards are showing me something profound about enemies, about people who tried to dim your light, and about how divine timing works in ways we can't always see immediately. This reading is specifically about your enemies stirring something they didn't understand, something way bigger than themselves, and now there's a reckoning coming that you didn't even have to orchestrate. Before we dive into the cards, I want you to understand something important. This isn't about revenge in the toxic sense. This is about divine justice, about the universe keeping its books balanced, about how what goes around truly does come around. The theme today is 70 times 7, which if you know your spiritual texts, you know that's about the fullness of divine intervention and completion. So I pulled cards specifically asking what Taurus needs to know about the enemies who tried to take you down, about what divine forces have been set in motion, and about the justice that's coming to restore what was taken from you. And Taurus, these 10 cards that came through are absolutely loaded with confirmation that you didn't imagine what happened to you. And more importantly, that the universe has been working overtime to correct the imbalance. Let me start by pulling the first card to see what energy is surrounding you right now as this divine justice begins to unfold. The first card I'm seeing here is the Knight of Wands and Taurus. This is fascinating because this knight represents rapid movement, fierce protective energy, and swift action coming into your life. Now here's what's interesting about this particular card appearing first. The Knight of Wands is often seen as a warrior, someone who charges forward with courage and doesn't back down from confrontation. But in this context, this isn't you having to fight anymore. This is the energy that's been assigned to your situation by higher forces. Think about it like this. You've been the steady, patient Taurus, probably taking hit after hit with grace, maybe even questioning if anyone saw what was being done to you. The Knight of Wands showing up first is telling me that the universe has literally dispatched rapid-fire energy to start correcting your situation. This is movement happening fast. Where things felt slow and stuck, where it seemed like those who hurt you were getting away with everything, that energy is completely shifting now. What I'm picking up specifically with this knight is that he carries the element of fire, which is purifying and revealing. Your enemies, these people who schemed against you or tried to block your blessings, they've been operating in shadows, in manipulation, in subtle ways that were hard to prove or call out. But fire illuminates everything. The Knight of Wands is charging into your situation, bringing exposure. What was done in darkness is about to be seen in broad daylight. And here's something really specific I'm getting. This knight doesn't arrive empty-handed. He's carrying messages, opportunities, and vindication. So Taurus, if you've been waiting for acknowledgement, for people to finally see what you went through, for the truth to come out about who did what, this knight is bringing exactly that kind of swift revelation. I'm talking about situations where maybe you were blamed for things, where your character was questioned, where people believed lies about you. This energy is about truth traveling fast now, reaching people who need to hear it, and clearing your name in ways you didn't even have to defend yourself. The Knight of Wands also represents courage and boldness, and I feel like this is also reflecting back to you, Taurus. You're going to find yourself stepping into a bolder version of yourself. See, when you go through what you've been through, when enemies try to break you down, you can either become smaller or you can become forged. This night is confirmation that you're entering your forged phase. You're about to move through life with a different kind of confidence, one that's been tested and proven. People are going to notice a shift in your energy, a kind of unshakable quality that wasn't there before. There's also this element with the Knight of Wands about adventures and new territories. While justice is unfolding, while karma is doing its work with those who wronged you, you are simultaneously being moved into new spaces, new opportunities, new connections that are so much better than what you left behind. It's like the universe is giving you a double blessing. Not only are those enemies facing consequences, but you're being elevated into something they can't even touch or reach. You're moving into a different league entirely. I'm also getting that this night energy means you might hear news suddenly. Like out of nowhere, you might get information, or you might witness something that confirms what you always knew deep down. That moment when someone who doubted you suddenly sees the truth, or when the person who hurt you gets exposed for exactly what they are. The Knight of Wands is fast energy, so this isn't years away. This is rapid-fire developments that could shock you with how quickly things shift. One more thing about this Knight before I move to the next card. He's fearless. And I think that's a quality you're reclaiming, Taurus. Fear might have kept you quiet, kept you from speaking up, kept you in situations longer than you should have stayed, but that Knight energy is infusing you with holy boldness now. You're going to find yourself caring less about what people think and more about walking in your authentic truth. And that energy shift alone is going to intimidate the same people who thought they broke you. All right, let me pull the second card to see what the universe wants you to understand about the enemies themselves and what they've actually set in motion. The card coming through now is the Star. And Taurus, when I see this card in a reading about enemies and divine justice, it tells me something really specific. The Star is about hope, divine blessing, healing, and being guided by something greater than yourself. In the context of your enemies, what I'm seeing is this: while they were busy trying to tear you down, you were actually being positioned for something so much bigger. See, your enemies thought they were destroying you. They thought their gossip, their schemes, their betrayals would end your story. But what they actually did was qualify you for a level of blessing they can't even comprehend. The Star represents divine favor, and there's something about going through the fire, going through the trial, that actually activates a different kind of grace in your life. Your enemies inadvertently became the catalyst for your greatest elevation. I'm getting really specific information here about how this works spiritually. When someone comes against you unjustly, when you're attacked for no reason other than jealousy or malice, the universe takes note of that. It's like a cosmic record is being kept. And the Star card is telling me that every tear you cried, every night you couldn't sleep because of what they did, every moment of confusion and pain, all of that was being collected as evidence. Not evidence for you to use, but evidence for divine forces to use in correcting the situation. The Star is also about wishes being granted, about dreams you thought were dead coming back to life in even better form. So Taurus, whatever you lost because of these enemies, whether it was a relationship, a job opportunity, a friendship group, your reputation in certain circles, money, peace of mind, whatever it was, the Star is saying that not only will it be restored, but it will be multiplied. You're not just getting back what was taken, you're receiving an upgrade that makes the original thing look small in comparison. There's also this beautiful element of the Star about being guided by higher wisdom. You know how when you're going through betrayal and attacks, you can feel so lost and confused, questioning your own judgment and intuition? The Star is confirmation that you were being guided even in the darkest moments. Every time you chose to walk away instead of retaliate, every time you bit your tongue instead of exposing someone, every time you took the high road when you wanted to go low, you were actually being guided by Star wisdom. And that restraint, that spiritual maturity, is exactly what positioned you for the blessings that are coming now. I'm also picking up with the Star that your enemies are about to witness your healing and restoration, and it's going to drive them crazy because, see, they wanted you to stay broken. They wanted you to stay bitter and stuck and wounded. But the Star energy is about complete renewal, about becoming even more radiant than you were before they tried to dim your light. Imagine how that's going to feel for them, watching you not just survive, but absolutely thrive while they're dealing with the consequences of their own actions. The Star also carries this energy of hope being restored to others through your story. So Taurus, your situation, your comeback, your vindication, it's not just for you. Other people who've been through similar betrayals and attacks are going to be encouraged by watching what happens in your life. You're literally going to become a walking testimony that divine justice is real, that you don't have to fight your own battles, that keeping your integrity matters even when no one is watching. Another layer I'm seeing with the star is about wishes and manifestations. While your enemies were focused on destroying you, you were still believing, still hoping, still holding on to faith, even if it was just by a thread some days. That faith, even when it was weak, was enough. The star is saying your manifestations are coming to fruition now. Things you prayed for, things you whispered to the universe during your lowest moments, solutions you desperately needed, they're all aligning now under this divine justice energy. There's also something about the star being a card of healing waters. Your enemies created wounds, deep wounds that maybe people couldn't see, but you definitely felt. The star is bringing healing that goes deeper than surface level. This is soul healing. This is restoration of your ability to trust again, to hope again, to believe in good things again. And as you heal, as you become whole, that light that shines from you is going to be evidence of divine intervention in your life. People will look at you and wonder how you're glowing after everything you went through, and that glow is the star's gift to you. Before I pull the third card, I just want to pause and say that these first two cards together are really powerful. The Knight of Wands and the Star together tell a story of rapid divine intervention, bringing you into a season of unprecedented blessing and favor. Your enemies stirred something they didn't understand, and now the universe is responding on your behalf in ways that are going to absolutely stun everyone who's been watching your situation. Let me pull the third card now to see what specific form this divine justice is taking. Okay, the Eight of Pentacles just came through, and Taurus, this is so perfect for you because this is your energy. This card is about mastery, about dedication, about someone who's been working hard behind the scenes while everyone else was distracted by drama. And in the context of divine justice and your enemies, what I'm seeing is this is about the work you've been putting in, being recognized and rewarded in major ways. See, while your enemies were busy trying to sabotage you, you were still showing up. You were still working on yourself, still developing your skills, still being excellent at what you do, even when you weren't getting credit for it. The Eight of Pentacles is the universe saying, we saw that. We saw you staying committed when you had every reason to quit. We saw you maintaining your standards when you could have become bitter and sloppy. We saw you investing in yourself when others were divesting from you. Here's what's really significant about this card in your reading. The Eight of Pentacles represents material manifestation of your efforts. So all that work you've been doing, whether it's your career, your personal development, your healing journey, your spiritual growth, your creative projects, whatever you've been consistently working on, it's about to pay off in tangible ways. I'm talking about money, opportunities, recognition, advancement, contracts, deals, things that your enemies specifically tried to block from coming to you. What I'm picking up really strongly is that your enemies tried to make you look incompetent or unskilled or unworthy. They might have spread rumors about your work quality, questioned your abilities, tried to damage your professional reputation. But the Eight of Pentacles is divine justice, showing that your work speaks for itself. The proof is in what you've created, in what you've built, in what you've accomplished despite their interference. And now the right people, the people who matter, are seeing the quality of what you bring to the table. There's also this element with the Eight of Pentacles about apprenticeship turning into mastery. Maybe you felt like you were still learning, still growing, still developing in certain areas. But this card is saying you've actually arrived at a level of mastery that even you haven't fully acknowledged yet. The trials you went through, the opposition you faced, it actually accelerated your growth in ways that smooth sailing never could have. Your enemies inadvertently trained you to become excellent because you had to be twice as good just to survive their attacks. I'm also seeing that the Eight of Pentacles in this reading represents opportunities coming where your skills are valued properly. If you've been undervalued, underpaid, unappreciated in your current situation, that's changing. Divine justice isn't just about your enemies facing consequences, it's also about you being positioned where your gifts are celebrated and compensated appropriately. This could manifest as a new job offer, a promotion, a business opportunity, clients who actually value your work, collaborations with people who recognize your talent. Another really specific thing I'm getting with this card is about focus. While your enemies were scattered, gossiping, scheming, wasting energy on tearing others down, you were focused on building something real. That focus, that dedication to your craft, to your growth, to your goals despite the distractions, that's what's creating the foundation for lasting success now. The Eight of Pentacles rewards those who stay committed to mastery, even when it's not glamorous, even when no one's watching, even when haters are hating. There's also something here about this card representing financial stability and security that comes from your own efforts. This is important because maybe your enemies tried to make you dependent on them, tried to control you through money or resources, tried to keep you stuck by blocking your financial flow. But the Eight of Pentacles is divine justice, saying you're about to experience financial breakthrough that comes through your hands, your skills, your work. Nobody can take credit for this. Nobody can claim they made you. This is all you and divine favor combining to create abundance. The Eight of Pentacles also speaks to reputation building through consistent quality. Your enemies might have tried to destroy your reputation with words, but you're rebuilding it with actions and results. Actions always speak louder than words eventually, and this card is confirmation that people are starting to see the pattern of excellence in everything you touch. That reputation you're building now is going to be unshakable because it's based on what you've actually done, not on what people say about you. I'm also getting that this card represents a time where you're going to be so busy with real opportunities that you won't even have time to think about your enemies anymore. That's actually one of the best forms of divine justice, when you're so elevated into your purpose and your blessings that the people who tried to stop you become irrelevant. You're not ignoring them out of spite. You're genuinely focused on better things. One last thing about the Eight of Pentacles before I move on. This card sometimes represents mentorship or teaching, so there might be an element of divine justice where you end up in a position to teach, guide, or mentor others, perhaps even in areas where your enemies tried to claim expertise. Imagine how that must feel for them, watching you become the authority, the expert, the one people turn to for guidance in spaces they tried to push you out of. Let me pull the fourth card to see what your enemies are actually experiencing right now as this divine justice unfolds. The Seven of Cups is coming through, and Taurus, this is telling. This card represents confusion, illusion, fantasy, and basically being lost in a maze of your own making. In terms of what your enemies are experiencing, this is absolutely divine justice at work. While you're getting clarity, direction, and tangible blessings with cards like the Eight of Pentacles and the Star, your enemies are trapped in the Seven of Cups energy, which is basically delusion and confusion. Here's what's happening energetically. When people operate from jealousy, from malice, from deception, they actually disconnect themselves from clear vision and wisdom. The Seven of Cups is showing me that your enemies thought they knew what they were doing when they came against you. They thought they had plans, strategies, ways to take you down and elevate themselves. But what they've actually done is create such a tangled mess of lies and schemes that they can't even keep their own stories straight anymore. I'm getting really specific information about how this confusion manifests. Your enemies are probably dealing with situations where their lies are starting to contradict each other, where different people they told different stories to are now comparing notes, where the facade they've been maintaining is requiring so much energy that they're exhausted. The Seven of Cups represents illusion, and the divine justice here is that the illusions they created to deceive others are now trapping them. There's also this element with the Seven of Cups about having too many options, but all of them being ultimately unsatisfying. So while it might look like your enemies are doing well, like they're winning, like they have so many opportunities, the reality is none of it is bringing them real fulfillment or peace. They might have gotten things through manipulation or by stepping on you, but those victories feel hollow. That's the curse of the Seven of Cups. Everything looks shiny, but nothing is substantial. What I'm also picking up is that your enemies are struggling with decision making right now. The Seven of Cups creates this paralysis where you can't figure out what's real and what's fantasy, what's a genuine opportunity, and what's just another trap. So while you are getting clear divine guidance and obvious open doors with the Knight of Wands and the Star, your enemies are stuck in confusion, second-guessing themselves, unable to move forward with confidence. That's divine justice removing clarity from those who tried to confuse and deceive you. Another layer of the Seven of Cups in this position is about exposure of fantasy and delusion. Your enemies have been living in a fantasy where they're the heroes of the story, where they were justified in what they did to you, where they're good people just protecting themselves. But reality is starting to crash through that fantasy. They're going to have to face the truth of who they are and what they've done, and the Seven of Cups suggests that confrontation with reality is going to be deeply disorienting for them. I'm also seeing that the Seven of Cups represents temptation and poor choices, and your enemies are about to face consequences for the choices they made when they came against you. See, they had a choice. They could have supported you, celebrated you, or at minimum just left you alone. But they chose to actively try to harm you. The Seven of Cups is showing that those choices are creating a domino effect of problems in their own lives now. What they sent out is coming back to them multiplied, and they're confused about why everything seems to be going wrong. There's something really specific I'm getting about the Seven of Cups regarding regret and what ifs. Your enemies are entering a season where they're going to deeply regret how they treated you. They're going to have moments of clarity where they see what they lost by making you an enemy, what they could have had if they'd chosen differently. But here's the thing, those realizations come too late. The Seven of Cups represents missed opportunities, and they're going to realize they missed the opportunity to be in your good graces, to be part of your journey in a positive way. The Seven of Cups also speaks to addiction and escapism. I'm picking up that your enemies might be dealing with their guilt, their karma, their consequences by trying to escape reality. Whether that's through actual substances or just through denial and fantasy, they're not facing things head on. They're trying to stay in illusion because reality is too painful. But you can't escape divine justice, and eventually those illusions will completely shatter. Another element here is about the Seven of Cups representing seeing things that aren't there or not seeing things that are there. Your enemies are going to misread situations, make wrong assumptions, trust the wrong people because their judgment is completely off right now. That's divine justice, removing discernment from those who use their discernment to plot against you. They're going to find themselves blindsided, betrayed by people they thought were loyal, caught off guard by situations they didn't see coming. What's really powerful about the Seven of Cups in this reading is that it shows your enemies are becoming exactly what they tried to make you become. They wanted you confused, trapped, unable to move forward, lost in illusion about your own worth and future. But instead, the Knight of Wands, the Star, and the Eight of Pentacles show you getting clarity, movement, and tangible success, while they're the ones stuck in the Seven of Cups confusion. That's the divine reversal. That's 70 times 7 justice. All right, let me pull the fifth card to see what specific blessings are coming to you as this divine justice unfolds. The Seven of Swords just came through, and okay, this is interesting because usually this card represents deception, sneakiness, strategy, someone getting away with something. But in the context of your divine justice reading, Taurus, this is showing me something really specific. This card is revealing what your enemies were doing behind your back. And more importantly, it's showing that their sneaky tactics are being exposed and turned back on them. First, let's talk about what this card is revealing. The Seven of Swords confirms that, yes, there were people operating in secret against you. There were plans being made behind closed doors, conversations happening about you when you weren't there, strategies being devised to undermine you. If you felt like something was off, like you were being played or deceived or sabotaged but couldn't quite prove it, the Seven of Swords is validation that your intuition was correct. You weren't paranoid. You weren't imagining things. Real deception was happening. But here's where the divine justice comes in with this card. When the Seven of Swords appears in a reading about karma and enemies, it represents those sneaky tactics being exposed. The person who thought they were being so clever, so subtle, so strategic in how they were undermining you, they're about to be caught. The Seven of Swords shows someone trying to sneak away with something they shouldn't have, and divine justice is about to stop them in their tracks. What I'm specifically picking up is that information is going to come to light. Conversations your enemies had about you, plans they made, lies they told, ways they tried to sabotage you behind your back, all of that is coming into the open. The Seven of Swords reversed energy is at play here, which means the sneak gets caught, the deceiver gets exposed, the manipulator's tactics become visible to everyone. There's also this element with the Seven of Swords about stolen credit or stolen opportunities. Maybe your enemies took ideas from you, took credit for your work, or literally blocked opportunities that should have come to you and redirected them to themselves. The divine justice here is that what was stolen is being restored to you, and those who stole are being revealed as frauds. Imagine how that's going to shift the way people see both you and them. I'm also getting that the Seven of Swords in this position represents your enemy's strategies failing. Whatever clever plans they had to keep you down, to stay ahead of you, to maintain their false position, those strategies are falling apart. Because here's the thing about operating in deception. You have to maintain so many lies, remember so many false stories, keep so many plates spinning. The Seven of Swords shows that system of deception is collapsing under its own weight. Another really important aspect of the Seven of Swords in your reading is about you retrieving what was taken from you, not through sneaky means, but through divine intervention. So if they stole your peace, your joy, your confidence, your reputation, your opportunities, the Seven of Swords in this context is about that being returned to you while they face the consequences of their theft. It's like the universe is literally taking back what they wrongfully took and placing it where it belongs, which is with you. The Seven of Swords also represents cunning and strategy. And here's an interesting twist. While your enemies were using strategy for evil, divine forces are using superior strategy for your good. You don't have to plot, scheme, or manipulate. Heaven's strategy on your behalf is so much more sophisticated than anything your enemies could devise. They're being outmaneuvered by forces they can't even see or understand. I'm picking up something really specific about the Seven of Swords regarding secrets being revealed. Your enemies have secrets, things they don't want people to know about themselves, skeletons in their closets that they've kept hidden. Part of their divine justice is that those secrets are coming out. While they were busy exposing or lying about you, their own hidden truths are about to be revealed. That's the 70 times 7 principle. What they did to you comes back multiplied. There's also this element with the Seven of Swords about getting away with something temporarily but not permanently. So even if it seemed like your enemies were getting away with what they did to you, even if justice felt slow or absent, the Seven of Swords is saying that was just temporary. They didn't actually get away with anything. The bill is coming due now, and divine justice doesn't forget a single thing they did. The Seven of Swords can also represent necessary strategy and wisdom in warfare. In this context, it might be showing that you've learned to be wiser, more strategic, more discerning about who you trust and how you move. Your enemies actually taught you to be more careful, to protect yourself better, to move with more wisdom. That's a gift, honestly, even though it came through painful lessons. You're harder to deceive now, harder to manipulate, and that's valuable. One more thing about the Seven of Swords before moving to the next card. This card sometimes represents taking what's yours and leaving the rest behind. There's an energy here of you being able to take the lessons from what happened without carrying the bitterness or trauma. You get to keep the wisdom, the strength, the discernment you developed while leaving the pain and the attachment to what those people did to you. That's also a form of divine justice because you get freedom while they stay trapped in their karma. Let me pull the 6th card to see what you need to understand about the timing of this divine justice. The Four of Pentacles is coming through, and Taurus, this card is loaded with meaning in your reading. The Four of Pentacles typically represents holding on, security, control, possession, and in the context of divine justice, this is telling me several really important things about what's happening with your enemies and what's coming to you. First, in terms of your enemies, the Four of Pentacles shows me they've been in a state of grip. They've been holding on to control, trying to maintain their position, clutching their resources, being possessive of what they think is theirs. There's a scarcity mentality here, a fear of losing what they have, and that fear is actually what drove them to come against you in the first place. They saw you as a threat to their security, their status, their resources, so they tried to eliminate the competition. But here's what's so powerful about the Four of Pentacles appearing in your reading. When you operate from fear and control and scarcity, you actually block your own flow of abundance. This card is showing that while your enemies have been clutching and controlling and holding tight, they've been choking off their own blessings. Meanwhile, you, by letting go, by releasing the need to control the situation or force justice, you've actually opened yourself up to greater flow. What I'm specifically picking up is that your enemies are about to experience what happens when you hold on too tight. The Four of Pentacles reversed energy is coming for them, which means loss of what they were trying so hard to protect. Their money situation might take a hit, their status might crumble, their control over situations, and people might slip away. Divine justice is prying open those controlling fingers and removing what they gained through wrongdoing. On the flip side, the Four of Pentacles for you represents incoming security and stability. While your enemies are losing their false sense of security, you're gaining real security that comes through divine blessing, not through manipulation or control. The Four of Pentacles in its upright positive expression is about solid foundation, material stability, having your needs met, and being in a position of genuine security. I'm also seeing that the Four of Pentacles speaks to your enemies being stuck. They're so busy holding on to what they have, maintaining their image, controlling their narrative, that they can't actually grow or move forward. They're frozen in this defensive position while you're flying forward with the Knight of Wands energy and receiving the star's blessings. That's divine justice. You're progressing while they're stagnating. There's something really specific about the Four of Pentacles regarding money and material resources. If your enemies profited in any way from what they did to you, whether they got a position you should have had, money that should have come to you, opportunities they blocked from you so they could have them, the Four of Pentacles is divine justice, saying that's being corrected. You're about to see financial blessing and material increase that reflects what you actually deserved all along. Another element I'm picking up with the Four of Pentacles is about boundaries and protection. This card for you represents learning to protect your energy, your resources, your peace with healthy boundaries. Your enemies taught you who to keep out of your inner circle, who not to trust with your dreams and plans. The Four of Pentacles is showing that you're building a fortress of discernment around yourself, and that's going to serve you powerfully going forward. The Four of Pentacles also speaks to the value of what you have versus what you lost. You might have lost relationships, positions, opportunities when your enemies attacked you, but the Four of Pentacles is asking you to look at what you kept. Your integrity, your character, your peace of mind, your clean conscience, your connection to divine guidance. Those are the real treasures, and your enemies can't take those from you. They might have taken temporary things, but you kept the eternal things. I'm also seeing that the Four of Pentacles represents your enemies experiencing poverty in areas beyond money. They might have material things, but they're experiencing poverty of peace, poverty of genuine relationships, poverty of joy, poverty of clear conscience. The Four of Pentacles can represent being rich in resources, but poor in the things that matter. That's a form of divine justice. They get to keep their stuff, but lose their peace. There's something about the Four of Pentacles that's also about inheritance and legacy. What your enemies tried to steal from you wasn't just current blessings, but your future inheritance, your legacy, what you were meant to build and pass on. The Four of Pentacles appearing in this reading tells me that inheritance is protected and actually multiplied. Your enemy's attacks didn't diminish your legacy. They actually ensured it would be greater because of the divine favor you gained through the trial. Another layer with the Four of Pentacles is about learning the difference between healthy protection and toxic control. Your enemies operate from toxic control, manipulation, clutching, fear-based holding on. But you're learning healthy protection, wise stewardship, appropriate boundaries, faith-based security. That distinction is everything, and it's why you're going to end up blessed while they end up bound. The Four of Pentacles is also showing me that you're entering a season of building something that can't be shaken. Whatever you lost can be rebuilt, and this time you're building on a foundation of wisdom, experience, and divine approval. Your enemies can't sabotage what God is establishing because you're not building on shifting sand anymore. You're building on solid rock. Let me pull the 7th card to see what else the universe wants you to know about how this divine justice serves your highest good. Okay, the Queen of Wands just came through, and Taurus, this is you. This is who you're becoming, who you already are, but are stepping more fully into. The Queen of Wands is confident, magnetic, creative, powerful, independent, and absolutely radiant with inner fire. In the context of your divine justice reading, this card is showing me that while your enemies were trying to diminish you, the universe was actually forging you into royalty. The Queen of Wands represents someone who has been through the fire and comes out refined, not destroyed. Every attack, every betrayal, every moment where your enemies tried to break you, it was actually tempering you, making you stronger, burning away any remaining self-doubt or people-pleasing tendencies. You're emerging from this situation as the queen, and that's the ultimate divine justice because they tried to make you feel small and powerless. What I'm specifically picking up about the Queen of Wands in your reading is about reclaimed power. Maybe your enemies made you doubt yourself, made you question your worth, made you feel like you needed their approval or acceptance. But the Queen of Wands energy is about you realizing you are the source of your own power. You don't need anyone's validation. You don't need to be included in circles that excluded you. You don't need anything from anyone who tried to diminish you. The Queen of Wands is also deeply creative and entrepreneurial. I'm seeing that part of your divine justice is about you creating your own opportunities, your own platform, your own success that doesn't depend on anyone who wronged you. They might have blocked you from certain doors, but the Queen of Wands doesn't wait for doors. She builds her own castle. You're about to step into such creative flow and manifestation power that you'll wonder why you ever wanted what they tried to keep from you. There's also this element with the Queen of Wands about magnetism and attraction. While your enemies were pushing you away, excluding you, trying to isolate you, you were actually becoming more magnetic. The Queen of Wands naturally attracts opportunity, resources, supportive people, abundance, all of it. You're about to experience what it's like when you're not chasing or begging or trying to fit in, but instead you're so aligned with your authentic power that everything you need comes to you. I'm also picking up that the Queen of Wands represents leadership and influence. Part of your divine justice is that you're moving into positions of leadership and influence that your enemies wanted for themselves, whether that's in your career, in your community, in your creative work, or just in your personal life. You're becoming someone others look up to and want to learn from. That has to sting for the people who tried to push you down. The Queen of Wands also carries this energy of being unapologetically yourself. Your enemies probably tried to make you feel like you were too much or not enough, too loud or too quiet, too ambitious or not ambitious enough. Whatever criticism they threw at you, it was designed to make you smaller and more controllable. But the Queen of Wands energy is about embracing all of who you are without apology. You're too much for the wrong people, and you're perfect for the right people. Another really significant aspect of the Queen of Wands is about independence and self-sufficiency. Your enemies might have tried to make you dependent on them or on systems they controlled. But this queen doesn't need anyone. She's completely capable of standing on her own 2 feet, of creating her own income, of building her own network, of succeeding without anyone who tried to hold her back. That independence is divine justice because it means your enemies have zero power over you now. They can't control what they can't access. The Queen of Wands is also fiercely protective of herself and those she loves. If you were someone who used to tolerate disrespect or mistreatment because you wanted to keep the peace, that version of you is gone. This queen has boundaries like fortress walls, and she doesn't hesitate to cut off anyone who disrespects her. Your enemies are going to find that if they try to come back around or continue their games, you're not the same person they messed with before. You're the queen now, and queens don't entertain jesters. I'm picking up something really specific about the Queen of Wands regarding your presence and how you show up in spaces. There's an energy shift happening where when you walk into rooms, people notice. Not because you're trying to get attention, but because you carry yourself differently now. You've got this inner fire, this confidence, this knowing of your own worth that just radiates, and that presence alone is going to intimidate the same people who thought they broke you. The Queen of Wands also represents passion and enthusiasm for life. While your enemies are trapped in bitterness, regret, and the consequences of their actions with cards like the Seven of Cups and the Four of Pentacles showing their limitation and confusion, you are stepping into passionate engagement with your life. You're excited about your future. You're invested in your dreams. You're showing up fully for your own journey. That joy, that enthusiasm, that's part of your vindication because they wanted you miserable. There's also this element with the Queen of Wands about inspiring others and being a catalyst for change. Your comeback story, your resilience, your transformation from victim to victor, it's going to inspire so many people. You're not just receiving divine justice for yourself, you're becoming an example that gives hope to others who are going through similar situations. That ripple effect of impact is part of the 70 times 7 blessing. Your restoration blesses way more than just you. Another layer I'm seeing with the Queen of Wands is about authenticity being your superpower. Your enemies operate in masks and facades and fake versions of themselves, but you're becoming radically authentic. And in a world full of pretenders, authenticity is magnetic. People are going to be drawn to your realness, your honesty, your willingness to be vulnerable about your journey while still standing in your power. The Queen of Wands is also connected to the element of fire, which is about transformation and purification. Everything you went through was burning away the old version of you that was too trusting, too naive, too willing to give people chances they didn't deserve. What's emerging from those flames is the refined, wise, powerful version of you that knows her worth and won't settle for less than she deserves in any area of life. One more powerful thing about the Queen of Wands before I move to the next card. This queen is often depicted with a black cat or a sunflower, symbols of mystery, magic, and turning toward the light. You're stepping into your own magic now, Taurus. Your intuition is sharper, your discernment is stronger, your ability to see through people and situations is heightened, and you're choosing to turn toward the light, toward hope, toward positive creation, instead of staying in the darkness of bitterness and revenge. That choice to face the light while having every reason to turn dark, that's powerful magic. All right, let me pull the 8th card to see what message the universe has about the completion of this divine justice cycle. The 5 of Cups is coming through, and Taurus, at first glance, this might seem like a negative card, but in the context of your reading about divine justice, this is actually showing me something really important about both you and your enemies. The 5 of Cups represents loss, grief, disappointment, but also the choice about what to focus on. In terms of your own journey, the 5 of Cups is acknowledging that yes, you experienced real loss because of what your enemies did. Maybe you lost relationships you valued, opportunities you were excited about, time you can't get back, innocence and trust that was shattered. The 5 of Cups validates that those losses were real, and it's okay that you grieve them. You're not being dramatic or sensitive for feeling hurt by what happened. Real cups were knocked over. Real things were lost. But here's what's so important about the 5 of Cups in your reading. In the traditional imagery of this card, there are 3 cups spilled, but 2 cups still standing behind the figure. The person in the card is so focused on what's spilled that they don't see what they still have. The divine justice message here is that while you lost some things, you didn't lose everything, and what you still have is actually more valuable than what you lost. What I'm picking up specifically is that the 5 of Cups is showing you're at a turning point where you get to choose what to focus on. You can stay focused on what your enemies took from you, or you can turn around and see what you still have and what's being restored to you through divine justice. The other cards in this reading, the Knight of Wands, the Star, the 8 of Pentacles, the Queen of Wands, they're all representing those standing cups, the blessings that remain, and the ones being added. Now, in terms of your enemies, the 5 of Cups is showing me what they're about to experience. They're entering their season of loss and grief, Remember, divine justice is about balance and restoration. They knocked over your cups, and now the universe is knocking over theirs. The Five of Cups for them represents realizing what they lost by choosing to be your enemy instead of your ally. They lost your light in their lives, your friendship or support, the blessings that came from being connected to you in a positive way. I'm also picking up that the Five of Cups represents your enemies dealing with regret. There's going to come a moment where they clearly see what they destroyed, what they sacrificed on the altar of their jealousy or malice or whatever drove them to come against you. The Five of Cups is that moment of standing in front of the spilled cups and realizing you did this to yourself. Nobody forced them to attack you. They chose that path, and now they're facing the consequences of that choice. The Five of Cups also speaks to the concept of crying over spilled milk, dwelling on what can't be changed. Your enemies are going to get stuck in this energy. While you're moving forward with Queen of Wands confidence and star blessings, they're going to be frozen in regret about what they did and what they lost. That's part of their divine justice. They get to feel the weight of their choices while watching you thrive despite their efforts to stop you. There's something really specific I'm getting about the Five of Cups regarding relationships that were damaged or destroyed. Maybe your enemies turned people against you, broke up friendships, caused division in your family or community. The Five of Cups acknowledges those relationship losses were painful, but it's also showing that not every relationship that ended was meant to continue. Some of those spilled cups were actually the universe clearing out people who weren't truly for you, making space for better connections. Another element of the Five of Cups is about emotional processing and maturity. You've been through the grief stage, you've processed the disappointment, you've felt the feelings that needed to be felt, that emotional maturity, that willingness to actually feel and work through pain instead of bypassing it or projecting it onto others. That's part of what qualified you for the divine justice and blessing that's coming. You handled the loss with grace. The Five of Cups also represents a bridge in the background of the traditional card imagery, showing that there is a way forward. There is a path to the other side. Your enemies tried to trap you in perpetual mourning, in permanent victim status, in forever being defined by what they did to you. But the Five of Cups shows you crossing that bridge, leaving the spilled cups behind, moving toward the standing cups and toward new blessings on the other side. I'm picking up that the Five of Cups in this reading is also about closure. You're getting emotional closure about what happened, clarity about why certain things had to end, understanding about what you actually lost versus what you thought you lost. Sometimes what feels like loss in the moment is actually protection. The Five of Cups can represent understanding that what you lost wasn't serving your highest good anyway. There's also this element with the Five of Cups about your enemies experiencing isolation as part of their karma. The figure in the Five of Cups is often alone, separated from community. Your enemies are going to find themselves increasingly isolated as people see their true nature, as their schemes are exposed, as karma catches up with them. They're going to feel the loneliness of being someone nobody trusts, and that's a direct result of how they treated you and likely others. Another layer of the Five of Cups is about learning to hold both truths. Yes, you experienced loss and you're receiving restoration. Yes, you were hurt and you're healing. Yes, things were taken and better things are coming. The Five of Cups teaches us that life isn't either or, it's both and. You can acknowledge the pain while celebrating the comeback. Before I pull the next card, I want to say that the Five of Cups in this reading is really about perspective. Your enemies wanted you stuck in the energy of the Five of Cups forever, focused on loss and defeat. But divine justice is giving you the Star's hope, the Queen of Wands power, the Eight of Pentacles success, all while your enemies get stuck in Five of Cups, regret and loss. That's the reversal. That's the 70 times 7 justice. Let me pull the ninth card to see what final piece of wisdom the universe wants you to have about this situation. The Lover's card just came through, and Taurus, this is so significant in a reading about divine justice and enemies. The Lover's card is about choices, alignment, union, values, and divine connection. In the context of everything we've been talking about, this card is showing me several really powerful layers of what's happening in your life right now. First and most important, the Lover's card represents a choice that was made, Your enemies made a choice to stand against you, to attack you, to try to harm you. But you also made choices. You chose how to respond. You chose to maintain your integrity. You chose not to retaliate in toxic ways even when you wanted to. The Lover's card is divine acknowledgement that you made the right choices even when they were the hard choices. You chose love over hate, truth over lies, faith over fear, and those choices positioned you for the divine justice that's unfolding now. The Lover's card is also deeply about alignment and being in harmony with your values and your higher self. What I'm picking up is that your enemies got you aligned. Through their attacks, through forcing you to choose who you were going to be in the face of adversity, they actually pushed you into deeper alignment with your authentic self and your divine purpose. You had to get clear on your values, on what you stand for, on who you are at your core. That clarity is priceless. There's also this element with the Lover's card about divine partnership and support. While your enemies were attacking you on earth, you were being supported by heaven. The Lover's card often features an angel or divine figure blessing the union below, and that's exactly what's been happening in your situation. Divine forces have been partnering with you, guiding you, protecting you, orchestrating events on your behalf. You weren't fighting alone even when it felt like it. I'm picking up something really specific about the Lover's card regarding relationships and new connections coming into your life. Part of your divine justice is about the universe replacing what was taken with something better. If you lost friendships or relationships because of what your enemies did, the Lover's card is showing new connections, higher vibration relationships, soul-aligned partnerships coming in. You're about to meet people who celebrate you instead of competing with you. The Lover's card also represents attraction and magnetism. There's an energy shift happening where you're attracting very different people and opportunities now than you did before. The old you attracted some energy vampires and fake friends because maybe you were operating from a wound or from people pleasing. But the healed, empowered, Queen of Wands version of you is attracting quality people and situations that match your elevated frequency. Another really important aspect of the Lover's card is about self-love. Your enemies tried to make you hate yourself, doubt yourself, reject yourself, but through this whole journey, you've been learning to love yourself more, not less. You've been learning that you're worthy even when people treat you as if you're not, that you're valuable even when people discard you, that you're lovable even when people choose to be your enemy. That self-love is foundational to everything good that's coming. The Lover's card is also about integration and wholeness. You're integrating all the parts of yourself, the hurt parts and the healed parts, the naive parts and the wise parts, the soft parts and the strong parts. Your enemies tried to fracture you, but you're becoming more whole than you were before. That wholeness, that integration, it makes you powerful in ways they can't comprehend. I'm also seeing that the Lover's card represents being at a crossroads and choosing the high road. You've had so many opportunities to take the low road, to seek revenge, to become bitter, to operate the way your enemies operate. But you've consistently chosen the high road. And the Lover's card is the universe honoring that choice. The high road leads to high places, Taurus. You're being elevated because you chose love. There's something about the Lover's card that's also about values and living in integrity with what you believe. Your enemies clearly don't have strong values, or they wouldn't have done what they did. But you do. You have a moral compass, a code you live by, standards you won't compromise. The Lover's card is showing that living in integrity with your values, even when it costs you something in the short term, always pays off in the long term. Your integrity is about to be rewarded in major ways. The Lover's card can also represent a romantic connection or deepening of an existing relationship. If you're single, Taurus, this could be indicating that love is coming as part of your divine justice package. After being hurt by enemies, you're about to experience being loved by someone who sees your worth. If you're already in a relationship, the Lover's card suggests it's going to deepen and strengthen as you step more fully into your authentic self. Another layer of the Lovers is about choice and free will. Your enemies made choices, you made choices, and now everyone gets to live with the consequences of those choices. The Lovers card is reminding you that you have power in your choices. You're not a victim of circumstance, you're a creator of your reality through the choices you make every single day. Choose love, choose faith, choose growth, and watch how your life transforms. The Lovers card is also deeply connected to the concept of divine union and being in right relationship with the sacred. Your connection to Source, to the divine, to your higher power, whatever that is for you, it's been strengthened through this trial. Your enemies tried to make you lose faith, but instead you found deeper faith. That spiritual connection is your greatest asset and the source of the divine justice flowing to you now. One last thing about the Lovers before we get to the final card. This card is about recognizing soul connections versus surface connections. You're developing the ability to quickly identify who's real and who's fake, who's for you, and who's just pretending. That discernment is going to protect you from ever being in this situation again with enemies disguised as friends. All right, Taurus, let me pull the 10th and final card to bring this reading to completion and show you what the ultimate outcome of this divine justice is going to be. The final card that came through is the Lovers. And actually, wait, I need to pull again because I already pulled the Lovers. Let me get the correct 10th card for you. The 10th card coming through is the 7 of Pentacles. And Taurus, this is the perfect card to complete this reading about divine justice. The 7 of Pentacles represents harvest time, reaping what you've sown, patience being rewarded, and long-term investment paying off. In the context of everything we've been discussing, this is the universe telling you that the harvest is here. You've been planting seeds, Taurus. Seeds of integrity when you chose not to retaliate. Seeds of faith when you trusted that karma was real even when you couldn't see it working. Seeds of hard work when you kept showing up and being excellent despite the opposition. Seeds of growth when you used the pain to evolve instead of devolve. The 7 of Pentacles is divine confirmation that those seeds are about to yield a massive harvest. What's so perfect about the 7 of Pentacles in your reading is that it represents patience being rewarded. Divine justice doesn't always work on our timeline. Sometimes it feels slow, like nothing is happening, like wrongdoers are getting away with everything. But the 7 of Pentacles shows that there's a season for everything. There's a planting season, a growing season, and a harvest season. You're entering your harvest season now. I'm picking up specifically that the 7 of Pentacles represents tangible, visible, measurable results. This isn't just spiritual justice or karmic balancing that you have to take on faith. This is justice you can see, blessings you can count, restoration you can touch. Whether that's money coming in, opportunities manifesting, relationships improving, your reputation being restored, health getting better, whatever forms it takes, you're going to have evidence that divine justice is real. The 7 of Pentacles also represents the idea that what you've been building is sustainable. Your enemies might get quick wins through manipulation, but those wins don't last. What you're building through integrity, hard work, and divine alignment is going to endure. The 7 of Pentacles is about long-term success, not flash-in-the-pan victories. You're building something that's going to provide for you and your legacy for years to come. There's also this element with the 7 of Pentacles about assessment and evaluation. You're in a season where you get to look at your life and assess what's working and what needs to change. The trial you went through with your enemies taught you so much about what you need to prune from your life, what patterns need to shift, what boundaries need to be stronger. The 7 of Pentacles gives you permission to make those adjustments so the next season is even more abundant. I'm also picking up that the 7 of Pentacles represents your enemies having to watch your harvest. Remember, they tried to destroy your garden, they tried to poison your soil, they tried to block your sun, but not only did you survive, you're thriving. The 7 of Pentacles is them having to witness your abundance, your success, your happiness, your restoration. They get front row seats to watching divine justice bless everything they tried to curse. The 7 of Pentacles is also about rest after hard work. You've been in survival mode, fighting mode, rebuilding mode for so long. This card is saying you're entering a season where you get to rest in the provision that's coming. You don't have to hustle as hard. You don't have to prove anything to anyone. You get to actually enjoy the fruits of your labor and your faith. That rest is part of your divine justice because your enemies stole your peace, and now it's being restored with interest. Another really significant aspect of the Seven of Pentacles is about multiplication. You didn't just plant one seed, you planted many seeds through every right choice you made, every time you chose integrity, every moment you kept faith. And each of those seeds is producing a harvest. The Seven of Pentacles represents exponential return on what you invested. What your enemies took is being returned to you multiplied. That's the 70 times 7 principle right there. The Seven of Pentacles also speaks to your legacy and what you're leaving behind. Your enemies wanted to destroy your legacy, tarnish your name, make you forgettable or remembered for the wrong reasons. But the Seven of Pentacles shows that you're building a legacy of resilience, integrity, faith, and triumph. Your story is going to inspire generations. Your comeback is going to be studied. Your faithfulness in the trial is going to be remembered. I'm picking up something really specific about the Seven of Pentacles regarding timing. This card often appears when the harvest is imminent, but not quite here yet. You're right on the edge, Taurus. The breakthrough is so close. The justice is about to become fully visible. The blessings are about to pour in. The Seven of Pentacles asks for just a little more patience because the timing has to be perfect for maximum impact. There's also this element with the Seven of Pentacles about appreciation and gratitude. As you enter your harvest season, the card is reminding you to acknowledge how far you've come, to appreciate what's being restored, to be grateful for the lessons even though they were painful. Gratitude keeps you grounded and positions you for continued blessing, not just a one-time windfall. The Seven of Pentacles is also connected to the earth element, and you're a Taurus, which is an earth sign. So this card is deeply resonant with your natural energy. You understand about seasons, about growth taking time, about the value of steady, consistent effort. The Seven of Pentacles is the universe speaking your language, Taurus. This is your card, showing that your natural approach to life is about to be massively rewarded. One final layer of the Seven of Pentacles before I close out this reading. This card represents the proof that karma is real, that divine justice exists, that the universe is just even when human systems fail you. You're about to be living proof of these spiritual principles. Your life is going to be evidence that you don't have to fight your own battles, that what's meant for you will find you, that enemies can't stop destiny. So Taurus, let me bring all of this together for you. Your enemies stirred the wrath of God. They came against someone who was divinely protected and favored, and now they're facing the consequences of that massive miscalculation. The 70 times 7 divine justice that's coming to you isn't just about revenge, it's about restoration. It's about everything they tried to take being given back to you multiplied. It's about you stepping into the Queen of Wands power, receiving star blessings, harvesting the Seven of Pentacles abundance, while they're trapped in Seven of Cups confusion, Five of Cups regret, and Four of Pentacles loss. The Knight of Wands is bringing swift movement and vindication. The Star is restoring your hope and granting your wishes. The Eight of Pentacles is rewarding your hard work and dedication. The Seven of Swords is exposing their deception. The Four of Pentacles is removing their false security. The Queen of Wands is revealing your royal identity. The Five of Cups is bringing them regret, while you choose to focus on what remains and what's coming. The Lovers is honoring your right choices and bringing aligned relationships. And the Seven of Pentacles is delivering your harvest. This isn't just a reading, Taurus. This is a prophecy about what's unfolding in your life right now. Your enemies have no idea what they've activated by coming against you. They stirred forces beyond their comprehension, and now divine justice is personally handling your situation. You don't have to do anything except stay in your integrity, keep your faith, maintain your Queen of Wands energy, and watch it all unfold. The best revenge isn't revenge at all. It's living so well, being so blessed, walking in so much purpose and power that your enemies become irrelevant to your story. They become a footnote, a brief chapter that led to your greatest transformation. That's what's happening now. So stand tall, Taurus. Keep your head up. Your vindication is here. Your justice is manifesting. Your harvest is coming in. And everyone who counted you out is about to watch you count your blessings. This is your season, and nobody can stop what divine forces have set in motion on your behalf. Thank you for allowing me to share this reading with you. I hope it brought you confirmation, encouragement, and excitement about what's coming. Your enemies might have meant it for evil, but God meant it for good, and you're about to see exactly what that looks like in real time.